Let's jump to the story from the New York Times. Big news. Walmart, once eager to promote diversity, pulls back amid conservative pressure. Cry more, New York Times. Right now, there's a bunch of flannel-wearing glasses guys with goatees in the Times in Times Square, just outside of it, going to the Times building, and they're all crying at their desks, all shaking each other fervently, saying, "We are the majority. We're still normal. It's conservatives that are doing all this." When the largest retailer says, "We don't want to do any of this weird stuff. We're getting away from it." The New York Times has to frame it as though, okay, I'm sorry, it wasn't guys. It's a bunch of women being like, we aren't wrong. We aren't wrong. So that's it.
That's good. Keep it that way.
So here's the funny thing. They're saying amid conservative pressure. You know what the funny thing is? Walmart is claiming they plan to pull back on DEI well before Robbie Starbuck reached out to them. The New York Times is coping. They're seething. Crime.
Yeah. I mean, the fact anytime the left loses any kind of social institution or anytime they get any kind of pushback, they absolutely lose their mind. Look at the way that people freaked out about, when there was the boycott on Target for the LGBT children's stuff, right? They were losing their mind because they really believed that they had achieved total hegemony over the whole culture, that there was not going to be any kind of pushback. It's the same reason why when Donald Trump was elected, they lost their mind because they believed that that they had reached a point in time where there was going to be politics of one nature forever. It was going to be Democrats were going to win. Hillary Clinton was, of course, going to win. And the differences were going to be very marginal. If there were going to be any differences between the candidate, it was going to be someone that it would be whoever would win. It would be someone that approved of essentially their program, and that was the way it's going to be because they believed that there was kind of an end to history that we had achieved. And obviously that's not the case, but they always lose their mind when anything is rolled back. And it's partially because a lot of people on the left have replaced traditional religions with a leftist religion.
Yeah, and so let me be clear at how big this is. First off, for Robbie Starbuck, because if New York Times reluctantly mentioned Robbie Starbuck, they don't want to give Robbie Starbuck any credit. So that tells you how damn good of a job Robbie did. So shout out to Robbie on that. But Walmart is not just the largest retailer; they are the largest private employer in the United States with over 2 million employees. This was the big dog to go get. And we did it. This is a shifting point that we're at right now.
And I guarantee that Walmart is not going to start firing all their women and people of color. I guarantee that is not going to happen. The DEI employees and stuff will they will quietly be ushered out or whatever.
They're going to go back to performance-based metrics or merit-based, huh?
Exactly. And it's not going to be some kind of, they're not going to bring in all the good old boys that are just going to get rid of all the women and get rid of all the people of color and stuff.
That's not what it's about. That's not what it's ever been about before DEI came about.
Completely agree, but that is the narrative that the left wants to sell. Mm-hmm. If you get rid of these programs, then all you're going to have, it's going to be just straight white men that are going to get jobs, blah, blah, blah. And it's obviously insane, but that's what they would want you to believe.
It's why the Jaguar rebrand is so weird. It's it's literally like they just got stuck in a time capsule in 2018 and came out and just rebranded, and everyone's like, there you go, is this what everyone's doing now? And they're like, no, you're 4 years too late.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Gen Z vape company when I first saw the new logo.
I didn't think it was the car company.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, sometimes.
What does it have to do with cars?
Well, but it's not that. But sometimes, other companies use different brands. Like, how many Patty's Pubs are there? You know what I mean? They're not owned by the same guy.
I literally thought Grace Jones was making a comeback.
And when you see that, the CEO or a high level executive refused to walk it back and is talking about how they're going forward with their new vision. It's that's not the point of your company, right? You're basically operating brand name on your name.
What
right?
are you selling?
You're and we're going to electric vehicles only, and everyone's like, are you so disconnected from your consumer base? You've already degraded your consumer base. It's not like people look at Jaguar as...
No, finish.
No, people aren't looking at the company that way. And in 2018, yes, a brand, a lot of people said, get woke, go broke. No, it was go broke, try to get woke to rebrand, which is what's going on here.
I think I know what happened. They've been working on that campaign for some time. It didn't just start production.
Well, no, of course not.
They were betting on Harris winning and the EV mandates and subsidies. So they said, Kamala's going to win. Everyone's saying Trump can't win. we're going to do this commercial. They probably shifted to EV production when they were looking at the EV mandates a long time ago, thinking with a new Democratic administration coming in, we're going to get a bunch of money towards EVs.
Because they're going to stonewall Musk, so the largest electric auto manufacturer is not going to get the subsidies. We can come in and get it. We're the largest electric. They could be.
So that's why they made the weird postmodernist art commercial to pander to the left and make an electric car and get these subsidies, and then Trump won.
But also, most of these companies, look, when these companies donate, they don't donate to one candidate. Most of the time, they spread their money around to multiple candidates. If you're Jaguar and you've got a company that has the money, theoretically, you should start running ads and running scenarios for both outcomes, right? So you have your creepy postmodern mandates with your creepy postmodern ad in case the EV mandates go through. Sure, fine. But then you should also be making a separate campaign that runs parallel with it that should have a completely different message in case Trump wins. But
That's a
would
big
that be
price tag.
I mean, better that than being stuck with something that isn't going to work at all. But that might also speak more to the fact that they really do think that they're the majority, and they can't imagine a scenario where they weren't going to win.
To be fair, just because there's this result in the United States, the United States is kind of the leader in this kind of culture war that's going on. Like, there are other things that happen, but I think the U.S. did elect Donald Trump before Brexit happened, right?
Yes.
I think so.
Wait, no, it's the other way around. Brexit, then Trump.
Brexit happened. Okay, so but the point being, I imagine that Jaguar made this for an international audience. They put it on the internet, and it's not obvious to me that it's going to be rejected in other places. Canada is steeped in this stuff, and of course there's pushback.
I don't know.
There are people that are pushing back. Of course,
but that's
I'm not
such a-
arguing saying they're not.
I think Trump may invade Canada.
But in France, in Germany, in a lot of countries in Europe, this is still kind of they're lagging behind the U.S. culturally, and it's still kind of the norm to have this kind of attitude. So
I got an idea. So we compromise with the military-industrial complex. We say, guys, we're not going to give you your wars in the Middle East or Eastern Europe, but we will give you war in Canada. You want to do these government contracts? We agree, but we have to occupy Canada and liberate them from tyranny.
Yeah, so I don't know how you're going to get any woke, non-binary trans folks to buy Jaguars when they're about to, any of them that are in the military are about to be unemployed by Donald Trump.
You know what?
So
There's really good points being made, though, that when the media claims 15,000 people in the military are trans, that's not true. Because that seems like a very, very large number relative to the amount of people in the military.
I mean, I don't know. I know is that across all branches, all
This is just what the media
offices,
reported, up to 15,000 individuals.
and there's something like
I feel like they're going to try to make that number sound as large as humanly possible.
Right, exactly.
something
to
like
push
a
a narrative.
million people in the U.S. military, I believe.
Well, so when I said Walmart was the largest private employer, the reason I said that they're not the largest employer because the Defense Department employs more. So that's the only one. So if you talk about millions of people in the Defense Department that work for the Defense Department, that 15,000 probably covers that entire Defense Department of millions of individuals.
I do think we've seen some bubblings up in Canada that people are getting fed up with what's going on with Trudeau and stuff. So I don't follow Canada enough to know for sure, but
He was forced to back down to Trump today.
Yeah.
You saw that?
That's the Trump tariffs.
The Trump effect, yeah.
Plus, he was out singing at a Taylor Swift concert when people were rioting in the streets. That doesn't look good.
He's bad at
I don't
that.
know. More people watch Taylor Swift than riots. You know what I mean? It's true, though.
Unless the riots are like outside your house, I think
Right.
you're probably right.
Look, a lot of this is also a lot of these companies that are run by competent CEOs that know what they're doing are trying to push back, and you could say that it's leaning right, but I would say it's probably in the wake of things. They're just trying to go back to a form of neoliberalism, which is to say that they're going to begrudgingly support the candidate. For instance, David Zaslav, who's in charge over there at Warner Brothers, talked about how the election of President Trump would be great for A&M, for acquisitions and mergers, right? Because they want to continue their ability to buy up companies. They don't want to be broken up. Everyone's talking about Google and what could be going on over there. Certainly that same thing happens with Disney very, very regularly, where they talk about the company and the possibility that it owns too much in one area. And if they want a pro-business candidate, they have now got the mandate to be able to do that because there seems to be less pushback against Donald Trump than there was in 2016. So saying as a business that you like Donald Trump now as a business owner doesn't carry the same weight that it did from 2016 through 2020.
Not nearly as toxic.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and that's good. Like, as much as we can complain about neoliberalism, the idea that they would be able to come out and now we can say America first, and we can see it that way, and we can hope that we can get the best America first candidates out of that. What they're hoping for are pro-business candidates who may or may not have America first beliefs, right?
I mean, we saw this coming with all the VCs and such from San Francisco, Silicon Valley, finally coming out and, sounding the alarm on this. I mean, you have these venture capitalists that have always been, morally woke. They're going to change the world and fix the, they're not talking about the climate crisis anymore. They're not talking about, racism. They're talking about, okay, how do we fix it? We've dug such a massive hole, and they're waking up. These San Francisco guys. There were tweets that were going around today talking about how there was one guy that traveled to. And Elon was actually interacting with him. He went to Europe, talking to people in Europe about San Francisco, and even the guys in Europe see like, okay, San Francisco is the opposite of what you want to do for politics nowadays. So I think people are finally seeing that. I don't know if there's some sort of cycle, if these cities are cyclical. Is New York improving? Is Eric Adams going to turn it around now that Trump's been elected? Maybe he'll get a pardon. I don't know. I mean, getting a business class upgrade on a Turkish Airlines flight doesn't exactly sound like the bane of corruption to me.
But a lot of them are still virtue signaling about deportations and sanctuary cities, which...
Well, New York is talking about closing down their migrant camps now because Trump has been elected. And Kathy Hochul is talking to Trump. I mean, the Democrats are blocking their own party out. The high-ranking ones know what they need to do. So
let's... You want to get one
no,
more?
and isn't that kind of the point that the uniparty will attempt to reassert itself if the idea here is that they're going to push themselves back to the middle, right? And you're going to get them talking about closing the migrant camps and all this stuff. They want to reassert uniparty control by pretending to acquiesce to these things right now until Trump's out of office.
That's why we don't get complacent.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.